Hello, YouTube modeling community. This is Rusty Rotor with what's on my bench. Got a couple things going here. Some sad news in the 3D printing world. My flash drive and possibly my motherboard went. So, not a real expensive fix, but wasn't counting on that. So that throws another little wrench in the scheme. So I'll be ordering that. We'll order a couple flash drives and a new motherboard, and just kind of throwing parts at it. It's the only two things it can possibly be. So I did a little test this morning to see if I could upload something from the laptop to the flash drive, and it won't. So it tells me the flash drive's crap. And the motherboard not reading other USB flash drives I have. There's potential for something else there. So if nothing more, of course, we'll start with the flash drive, and then if it's still not reading there, then we'll go ahead and replace the motherboard. So it's going to take me probably a couple weeks by the time parts get in and I get my son over here and we go at it. So that's pretty much it on update of that. Shop-wise, I haven't started moving anything yet. I probably will the first of next week start getting things out first, and then we'll get the diorama table moved over there and get it arranged, set up, get it all plugged back in. Then I can start looking to see where I can put all my other stuff. So like I said, that'll take about a day or two to kind of fiddle around with that. The Ghost of Kiev, we've started on it. I gotta say, I'm enjoying it, and I'm not enjoying it. Maybe that's why I don't build airplanes. But it is a very cool model. It's just very tiny. So I've gone from the small scale group build, which is a super nice change. I've had tons of fun with it. It took a little more thinking on my behalf, and a few things that we'll get into here in a minute. But I'll show you. I don't have a lot done on the Ghost of Kiev, but I got a few things, and the instructions are one. So like the instructions will show you the color, and it tells you what sprue it comes off of, but they don't have individual numbers like a model car does. So I'm kind of just playing the guessing game and looking at parts. But you can see I'm just following the instructions for the color codes. Even though, you know, it could probably be more in depth as far as colors go and detail. I'm going to add some washes, kind of pop out the detail like on this landing gear here. You know, there's a lot of detail in that. I don't know if you guys can pick that up or not. You know, the ribs around this support, all up and down the strut, there's all kinds of little bit of detail. So hopefully the wash kind of makes that pop out. The instrument panel, it does get a decal, and I've already varnished most all these parts, so they're pretty much ready to be assembled. But I do need to get the decal on here, and I'm going to have to use a lot of, you know, setting solution to get that get that decal to mold and fit into or conform to all these different. Maybe if I lay it down there, you can see it better. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Focus. There we go. So you can see all those gauges and buttons and doodads and all that. So the decal's got to conform to there. And I'll show you the decal. Maybe I won't. Oh, there it is. It's this decal right here in front of my thumb. That goes on that little instrument panel there. So when I look at it, it doesn't really line up and match everything that's on there, but it'll give the look, I guess, which is most important. And then we've got, you know, all these call signs, numbers, and badging, and all that. I don't know what it all gets. And here's other landing gear and the struts for them. These still got to be varnished. So it's just how the instructions go. But I knew it was going to be a slow process. And like I said, it's been since I was a little kid that I built any airplanes. So, you know, it's one of those things. I do things in a rhythm, so to speak, that, you know, you build a model car, and then you build another one, you build another one, you're used to that, and all the components that go along with it. And then you switch off and do something that's not in your wheelhouse, or you're not used to it. It can be just as aggravating as it is rewarding, I guess. So, you know, when you pick something that's out of your wheelhouse, just kind of, I guess, plan ahead and know that you're going to run into some challenges that you're not familiar with. And you know, on a car, you know it would get this, regardless of what's in the kit. You know it gets this. It needs this detail, and or a wash, or all the little detail painted, or something to make that part stand out. Well, in planes, I don't know. I mean, I've got reference to go by, but I mean, that's a real plane, and it's, you know, each picture, the light's hitting in a different way, so the shadows may pop out one way, and then in another picture, they'll pop in a different way. So I don't know, you know, which way to go, but just to follow the instructions and end up with a nice, you know, shelf model. By all means, it would never be a show quality airplane. But I am having fun with it. It's just so teeny tiny that the parts are very fragile. Even on cars, parts are fragile, but you kind of know in advance what is and what's not going to be when you open the box. That's where this one's like, I don't know what to expect. And then you get there and like, oh, this, you know, like this landing gear here, this little support right here, that thing is so fragile, it's already like it's wanting to break. If that breaks off, I'm screwed. I can try to re-glue it, and it's too small to pin, so we will see. But I'm going to do this. Normally I do this on Mondays. We're not going to have anything Monday, but maybe if I do any good at the show this weekend, we can talk about that Monday. But I got this shop card in. Star City Scale Modeling. Scale modeling, the sky's the limit. No truer words. This gentleman's name is Rocky. He's been a long time follower, supporter of the channel. Yeah, Rocky, I can't thank you enough for the kind words on the back. That means a lot. This is the kind of stuff that keeps me going. Keeps me, you know, sitting here babbling off to you guys. Gentleman, I won't give exact, but lives in Virginia. And here's a shop card. You guys get over there, and I think he has a YouTube channel. I'm not for sure. I believe he does, but you know, check him out. Just search it, Star City Scale Modeling. If he is, subscribe to him. You know, he's super nice guy. Like I said, great supporter of this channel via this kind of stuff right here. So again, Rocky, I thank you. It's going to go up on the wall with all the rest. Well, let's put him right here for right now. We're going to pick you up, and we're going to travel over here. Let me grab my drinky drink. And we're going to get into what we got going on over here. Now, for the small scale group build, this I've had a blast with. It has thrown me some curveballs, and it made me sit back and think. I'm like, okay, well, a 40 Ford, which route do I want to go? First and foremost, I didn't want to get heavily detailed. Got too much else going on that to devote that kind of time, and you only get a month to do it in, which is really plenty of time. So I had to stop and think, like, okay, well, if I build it box stock, how do I want to build it? Do I want to build it like the box art, or do I want to build it, you know, the rusty way? And we sat here and stared at it, and we stared at it, and we stared at it. And when I say we, I mean me, myself, and I. And, you know, I've talked to Tom a few times, and I've seen what he's done with his, you know, the Jungle Jim's funny car. And, you know, I'm like, you know, awesome. That's just, and I've seen some others that just, oh my God, you know, crazy. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to do something totally different than I normally do. And we're going to follow the box art. And we're going to try to stay true to the era, colors, so on and so forth. I picked a color that's almost dead nuts on. I mean, it's probably off a hair, but it is a Ford color. It is a solid color. So what I did was, you guys saw it was in primer. I shot it with paint. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to go about this, considering there's not like, there's an interior tub, but it doesn't have the door cards. The door cards are part of the doors, so it's kind of all molded in. I was like, well, you know what? I'm really good at painting detail. So 90% of this is hand painted, guys. The only thing that's shot with the airbrush is the body color. And I didn't shoot it with clear coat. And I'll tell you why. Because back in the 40s, there was no clear coat. It was hand rubbed lacquer that was on these cars. Or a similar type of paint. It was hand rubbed to bring it to a shine. And, you know, they never had clear coat unless they were, later down the road, they were modified and custom painted. And they wanted it nice and, you know, showroom shiny. So I was like, well, how am I going to do this? So I was like, okay, well, these paints are lacquers. So what I did was I got out a compound for lacquer paint, and I hand rubbed it, just like they would have done back in the days. I applied it, I smeared it all around, I let it set for a few minutes, and I came back and I started buffing it by hand with a rag. And I'm telling you right now, this stuff it's small, so it was really challenging. And I got it to a really nice shine, a shine that it probably would have had in real life, and just as shiny as what's on the box art. Now, whether they used a satin cloth, you know, clear coat, or I don't know, but and then, you know, we proceeded to hand paint everything. We picked out the detail. The body is not glued on yet because I still have to do all the chrome trim, the stripes down the side and across the top of the hood. But we've got all the other detail painted. I do need to put the red in the tail lights. The bumpers have been chromed. Take a look at those. That was done with Molotow. They are a lot brighter than what they're showing up here on camera. You can kind of see, there it is. There's the shine. These were brush painted too. If you ever use Molotow with a brush, it's really great with a teeny tiny brush to pick out detail. But if you're going to use it on a bigger area, you want to lay it on heavy. And when I say heavy, I mean like use a bigger brush, pull your strokes one direction, because it does self-level. So that's what I did. I just laid it on, and then I came back over while it's still wet and laid it heavy again. And then when I was happy with primarily the way it looked, I just put it to the side and let it dry. Now Molotow, you know, everybody knows, you go handling it and touching it, and it rubs off. It's going to go from those clamps to be applied to the vehicle, and it won't be touched again. This is going to go, I got to get a little display case to put it in, but it's going to go directly into a little display case to protect it. It'll go up on the shelf. And I've got the glass. I still got to put the glass in it, paint the chrome detail. And if you guys remember, I had to add the detail because it was non-existent across the hood using styrene strips, so that made it more prominent. So now I'm just going to mask off, and then I'm going to come through and I'm going to brush paint it. That way I can come back with one of these little Tamiya Q-tips and clean up my edges if I have to. And you know, it comes right off with a little mineral spirits and a little tiny Q-tip. It cleans it right up. And then with the interior, the floorboard, I kept it a matte black, as it would have been, you know, a rubber mat in the floor. And then the interior, and then the top is, of course, a little lighter. They have it white on the box art, and I was like, I can't do white. To me, that just, it stands out like a sore thumb. But that's just me, my perception of how it looks. Get some dust on it. But, so without further ado, we'll kind of, like I said, remember guys, the body is not glued down yet. So, we'll take a look at it and see where I'm at with it, and you guys can let me know what you think. There we go. You can see we got the running boards are painted. Everything's been varnished, you know, to protect the hand painting part. The tires and wheels were all hand painted, including the beauty ring and the center cap, the white walls, and the tires. We black washed the grill after we chromed it. Headlight bezels are in. I still got to put the lenses in. Like I said, paint this chrome trim here and down both sides of the car. And it's basically right there where my finger is. We got the door handles painted. Gas cap is painted. Tail lights are painted. The handle for the trunk is painted. But yeah, you can see the shine. No, it's not as smooth of a paint job as I wanted. But it did polish out really nice for just lacquer, no clear coat. And you can take a look at the box art and see. Let me move this boat guy out of the way, and we'll put this here next to it, and you guys can see comparison. Really close. Not the exact same color, but very close. And I did my boot. It was a custom mix. I did it like, I think it's about 4 shades, maybe even 5 shades lighter than the interior. I painted the trim on the inside of the doors, the door handles. Steering wheel matches the boot, this bad boy. And we detail painted the dash as best as we could for as small as it is. Steering wheel, of course, is painted. Sun visors match the interior, which would be the seats. And then we did all the snap rivets around the boot with chrome. The back. And then we'll flip her over here. And then we hand picked out the detail. We still got some touch up to do, like on the tire. Engine, I went for sure on the engine color, so I went with just a glossy black. I'm sure it had a flat head in it, but that's just how we did it. Picked out the transmission, exhaust, the clamp, bolts that bolted the floorboard, you know, down. Drain plug for the diff. We still got to get in there and touch up the axles and the bottoms of the tires. And we'll give those a varnish coat on the very bottom. That way, if the car gets scooted around, it won't wear the paint off again. Master cylinder. There's even the starters up in there. Very, very tedious work. And I left the bottom of the running boards the body color, but we painted the bottom edge where that would have, that rubber coating would have wrapped up underneath the bottom there. And like I said, the bumpers will go on. They just sit right down these little curves, and then I'll touch up the top of those little pins. I forget it to focus. There we go. There's these 4 little pins. That tells you which bumpers goes where. I'll touch up the top of those with some black so it blends in with the bumper supports. And then, like I said before, the body doesn't fit perfect. I mean, it does if you push it down, which is what I'll have to do, is probably just sit here and glue it in place and hold it down and wait for it to dry. And then we can move on. But overall, yeah, it sits on all 4. You know, we'll put it even on the same angle. There we go. We got the chrome around the windshield painted. We got the wiper blades painted. I was thinking about opening the vent, but then it's like, you know, it's so small, and if I screw that up, I don't have nothing else to replace it. I could scratch build a new plate, but then again, it's like, you know, time. How much time, with everything else I got going on in the world, and everything else going on here, how much time do I actually have? So it was keeping it simple, at least for my first one, you know. I'm just glad, you know, I'm kind of ahead of schedule. I got plenty of time. Another day and a half, this will be done. I'm gonna work on it some when this video's done, and then I gotta get stuff ready for the show tomorrow. Again, even if it's last minute, you guys want a copy of that flyer, you just got to drop me an email. My email is always down below in the descriptions, as is Mark at Hobby Nut Models. Go check him out, pick you up a little something. Ryan Jones, he's constantly designing new wheels, constantly. Like I said, I was originally on Instagram, and that's where I met up with Ryan, and that's how I communicate with him, and that's how I see what products he has coming out. Same way Joel at Heisman Collections. So I know a lot of guys don't get on Instagram, but you know, if nothing more, download it just where you can. The gentlemen I tell you about, or ladies, as in Olga with the decal lady, you can at least jump over to their thing and see what they've got going on, and get a hold of Olga and get on the waiting list for any decals you need made. She does a super fantastic job of it. There's many people out there that do a great job with decals. So I use only 2. I try to keep it at that, and then if one fades off and away and doesn't do it anymore, then I have a backup, and then I search for another one just to keep it going, because I don't know how to make decals. I know a lot of people do, and they can do it on their simple little printer and get a decent decal. It is one thing I do want to learn, but I've just not got there yet. I need to overcome this almost $1,000 investment hunk of crap over here. Now it's going to cost me another almost $100 to get parts for it. And I just invested $60, almost $100 in parts here just within this past month and a half. But that did make a difference. So, I know I was on the right path there. These parts, of course, like the motherboard's like $60. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it's the downtime. It's the, getting the machine perfectly clean, getting it out. We got to flip it over, got to take some screws out and unplug a bunch of stuff and label it so you know where it goes. It's a plug and play type thing. The new board goes in. It's got a couple screws to hold it in, then all the connections. But the USB port is part of the motherboard, so you can't just replace the little thing. There is some machines that's got like a cord with a USB drive on the end of it, and it just plugs into the machine. Now keep in mind, mine is Bluetooth. I can, from my laptop, print from that and just send it to the printer, but we don't. My son started to set that up, and it was like, so we've held off on that. So there's always a backup to not having the flash drive, but we don't have anything set up to where I can do that. And I'd rather have the machine working how I know how to use it. I slice my file and I upload it to the flash drive, and I take it from there, plug it in there, and push the buttons, and it prints. But, you know, you guys can see via this boat, you know, it's printing good. And like I said, I only lost one little piece of this print, which is not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, that I got, you know, 98%, 99% of the print was successful. The print I'm working on now is for Chris Bizzle, Christopher. I got half of it printed. He sent me the other part of the file that I didn't originally get when he sent it. And when I sliced it and did everything, and that's when I knew my flash drive was bad. It wouldn't upload to the flash drive. So we're going to start with a new flash drive. I'm going to get a little bit pricier one, a little higher, better quality. Then we got to download files from a file onto the flash drive and format it. And then I'm going to upload that and see if I can get that to print. If it prints no problem, then I know I can hold off on the motherboard. If not, then I'll have to go ahead and order the motherboard. And then wait for it to get in and then tear the machine down. And I mean, it's literally, I got to take a bunch of crap off the machine and get in there and replace the motherboard. I watched a video. It's not super hard. I could do it myself. But then I want my son here when we do it. That way, if it's got to be updated, if, you know, whatever needs to be done, we can get it done right there and then. Make sure that the flash drive works with it, and I'm good to go. If not, I mean, I'm down until I can get it figured out. So, that being said, this is the weekend. I am going to a show tomorrow, and again, if you want a copy of the, you know, just send me an email. I'll send you a copy of the flyer. I'll be there all day. Just like I said, you see what this mug looks like. I'll have on the Hobby Nut Models t-shirt. For a while, I'll probably have a hoodie on over it, but I will take the hoodie off, and I'll be representing. Matter of fact, I need to put that over here, so don't forget it. I got my two models out here. I'm going to give them a quick coat of wax, kind of dust them off, get them put in the boxes. Make sure, I'm just going to set them on mirrors. I'm not going to do nothing fancy. I'm just going to set them there and set them on the table, and then I'm going to go enjoy the day. Get to meet some people, vendors, you know, that kind of thing this time around. And enjoy the day, and, you know, we'll be back here on Monday. We may show part of the print we're trying to do for Chris. This is really going to help me with a lot of projects I have, and hopefully help him by promoting him and what he does, because he does create a lot of cool things, and he collaborates with a lot of people, which is really nice. That he gets builders involved, and so there's that. And then meanwhile, we'll next week we're going to be starting off fresh. I have a lot of appointments next week, so I don't know how much time actual in shop I'm going to get, but we're definitely going to do videos. I'm going to try to get going on the EV charger, or not the EV charger, but the Ring Brothers charger. I'll have the 44 done, so I can get that up and out of the way, and we're going to bring down the Volkswagen, and that's about a day's worth of work. Get that finished up, and then we can get the 32 down and get going on it. I need to get it in primer and in paint as soon as I can, to kind of just get caught up. Same way with the Ring Brothers charger. I know the body's ready for the final coat of primer. Then we'll do a little wet sanding, and then we can get the color shot on the body, and finish getting the suspension all painted, and then we can focus on the interior, getting it all figured out and how we want it to be, and so on and so forth. Tidy up housekeeping on it, so to speak. So again, if you guys got anything you want to see, you want a shop card, you just gotta down an email. It's always down there. Send me an email. Let me know what you think about the 40 Ford via comments down below, and the Ghost of Kiev. Any comments would be great, because like I said, it's been so long since I built a plane. What should I look for? Something I should do, even though I'm going by the directions in the box. Any of that would be helpful. And you guys have a great weekend, a safe weekend. A lot of people may be off Monday, because I think it's President's Day or something Monday. So you maybe get some quality build time in. Again, send me pictures of what you're working on. Tell me what you've done to it, what you're going to do to it. I really like that. There's been a lot of y'all been doing that, and I thank you, because it's great seeing other stuff. It inspires me. It humbles me. It's all the above. And the last video, I asked for a lot of comments, and I got a lot of comments, and that was great. I want to keep that going. Stack that comments thing down there. Flood it. That all helps this channel, go up. And I know a lot of people don't like to do that, and they just give the thumbs up. I appreciate that too. But if you can find it in your heart, leave comments too. Even if it's just quick comments, just leave a comment. If you really want to communicate, send me an email. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification. You'll know when these videos come out. I'll be working on the diorama base as well this week. Right now I have the Ghost of Kiev on the diorama table. It's just kind of where I was at. So I'll shift it back over to its proper build area, and we'll get going on that. And we'll get the diorama base back up here. And like I said, I've got about 30% more to strip off of it, and then I'm going to be ready to start laying out kind of where everything's going to go. I can start drilling holes in it, start scribing in it, kind of get it figured out, and then I can start adding, layers of detail, and then we can get the base painted at least, and start highlighting and shading, and then I'll have to order some of the landscaping stuff so we can start getting that added in, how I want it to look. But even then, I'm still being held up because the printer, the files I have, I need to print that stuff out because that goes on the diorama. And I should have a long time ago just started printing that stuff out, but I got tied up in other things and excited about things. You know how that goes. But we will get it. But we got enough here to work on, definitely. We got the boat to paint. Get started on that. We can feature that for a while. We do have the Charger. We do have the 32. We've got the Gray Stang. We've got Jays back here we're going to get started on. So, we got a lot excuse me, to go over and cover and work on. I want to show you something here really quick. We've got Skeletor here guarding the first place prize wheels. Just so you guys know, they're nice and safe. He's making sure, that dead bastard, he ain't gonna do nothing, and somebody just walk up and grab him. But it was cool. They fit right there in his lap, and I was like, I'm gonna put these someplace and I'm gonna lose them for sure, because the rate we're going, it's gonna take forever to get to 1,000. So I better put these things someplace where I know where they're at. And I was like, hey, Skeletor, they'll fit on his, and they did, and that's where they're gonna sit until it's time to gather everything up. So again, guys, pump this channel up. Tell everybody about it. Get them involved. Show some love. We'll get this going. Channel grow. And we got some great things. We'll have a review to do next week too. Yes, sir. That's actually this month's review. Last month's is the Ghost of Kiev, and we got started on it, and it's just so fiddly. I don't want to rush it, so we will take our time with it and do sub-assemblies and paint and varnish and sub-assembly, until we get through the whole thing, and then we'll do a final review on it. But the next one coming up for review will be we'll probably do it on Wednesday. Sometime Wednesday I'll put a video out and it'll show what it is and talk about what I'm going to do to it, and we won't get started on it right away, but at least you'll have what my vision is for it and know that it is coming down, after a couple of these builds get done, and we have room to set it up and start diving into it. So until then, guys, you know the drill. You know what to do. And everything that's not involved in this, you know what to do. Be safe, have fun, spend time with the family, get some modeling in, check out all the great, all the great sponsors of the channel. Go show them a little bit of love if you can. It just keeps everything going. You get what you want. You get what you want to see. I get to bring it to you and show it to you. and show you what I'm doing with it. So that's all I can ask for. And if you can't, it's not the end of the day, guys. There's always tomorrow. There's always next week. There's always a month. But when you can, the link's always down below. Hit it. Go check out Mark. Show that gentleman some love. He's busting his butt, literally, to keep new things coming to his online store. And great used kits, new kits, Gundam, military, vintage kits, all the tools and supplies, paints, the MCW, those great paints, and they are great paints. I'm not won over by them, where I would switch and constantly only use them, but I'm about 60% there. They are great paints. I happen to like to work with lacquers. I do like enamels. And you know, MCW does have lacquers too, and they lay super nice. So don't be leery of getting one. Just follow the simple directions. You know, the MCW, it's, you know, equal part paint, equal part thinner, and I add between 6 to 10 drops of hardener when I mix it up. And once you add the hardener, you know, that's it. You use that paint. I have, though, taken leftover paint and added more thinner to it and thinned it down, and it's still good. It's months old. So there's ways around it. Just try to mix up what you're only going to use, so that way you don't have to deal with it and take a chance and wasting. I don't like to waste anything. So enough rambling. Anything else? No, we're good. Again, hope to see some of you guys out there at the show tomorrow. Remember, just walk up and introduce yourself. Be glad to spend some time with you. Shoot the proverbial crap. Anything, life, models, doesn't matter. I'm going to be in relax mode tomorrow at the show. My one friend is not going to be able to make it, which really sucks. But he's going to be at the next one. That's in July. I'll be back down in Louisville again for that show, and then I won't be at any more shows until Acme, and then maybe there's one up in northern Ohio. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a really good show. If you go back through Tim Throttle Power's archives, he has attended that show. It's not northern Ohio, but it's like northern Cincinnati area, a little bit north of Cincinnati. It's out of Fairgrounds Park. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a really good show. I believe it's an IPMS show. I didn't enter the last time I went to that show. I just went to hang out and see what the vendors had. Great vendors, great atmosphere, great guys. They even have food. It was a really good time. But I think Tim has a video on that actual show, and you'd be more wise to go back and look through his archives and find that particular one, because I wouldn't even know where to go to find that show again. There's a thing I do get via the internet. It shows all the listing of all the shows for the year, but I don't even remember what it's called. You can look for it on that list. But Tim has a good, like a reference point that he always goes to, and he always announces the name of it, where he's at, what part of town it's in, who it's held by, who it's sponsored by. So you can get all that information, really well from Tim. So definitely go check it out. If you live, in this tri-state area here, it's a really good show. And I'm going to try to make that one. I just got to figure out where it's at, what date it is, so on and so forth. But other than that, I'll be at Acme. I've already paid for everything other than the models that I'm going to enter. So I'm definitely going to be there. I've already got money set aside for the travel there and the travel back home. So I'm good this year. I thought a little ahead. But I've talked enough. We'll see you guys on Monday. This is Rusty Rotor. I'm out.